Hello everyone, welcome back to our Java tutorial series. In the previous video, we learned about lambda expression in Java 8. Today we are going to understand an important concept behind lambda expression. It's functional interface. We will learn what functional interface, why it is needed, how to create our own functional interface, how to use it with the lambda expression, and finally we look at Java's built-in functional interfaces. A functional interface is an interface that exactly has one abstract method. It can still have multiple default and static methods. So the important rule is that it must have only one abstract method. For example, our calculator has only one abstract method called add. So it can be treated as the functional interface. Why do we need functional interface? The main reason is that they provide the target type for the lambda expression. Here calculator is a functional interface because it has one abstract method. We can then provide the implementation of the method using lambda expression. So remember this relationship. We will see what is single abstract method. You may hear the term SAM frequently in Java interfaces. SAM stands for a single abstract method. A functional interface is also commonly called a SAM interface because it has exactly one abstract method. Java introduced the at the rate function interface annotations. This annotation tells the compiler that we intend this interface to be functional interface. If we accidentally add another abstract method, the compiler will report an error. So the annotation is not what makes an interface functional. The single abstract method rule does that. The annotation simply allows the compiler to verify our intention. Let's see what happens if we add a two abstract method. Our interface is now no longer a functional interface because we use at the rate functional interface annotation. The compiler detects this problem and reports the compilation error. This is one of the common interview questions. One important point is that the at the rate function interface annotation is optional. Even without annotation, an interface with exactly one abstract method can be still used as a functional interface. Annotation is mainly useful because it allows the compiler to verify our intention. Can a functional interface contain a default method? Yes. A functional interface can contain multiple default methods. What matter is that there must be only one abstract method. So the display method in this example does not violate the functional interface rule because it is the default method. Let us see functional interface with the static method. Static method don't count as the abstract method. Therefore, this interface still valid functional interface. Let's create our own functional interface. First, we create the calculator interface with one abstract method. Then we create the lambda expression that implements that method. Finally, we call the add method. The result is 30. This is the most important practical example to understand the relation between the functional interface and lambda expression. Let us say function interface with one parameter. Function can also have a method with no parameter. In this example, our lambda simply prints the message. Because there are no parameters, we use empty parenthesis. A function interface can have abstract method that returns a value. Here the multiply method returns an integer. Our lambda expression provides the multiplication logic. Now, if we don't always need to create our own functional interface, Java 8 provides many built-in functional interface in the Java utility function package. The four most important ones learn first are predicate, consumer, supplier, and function. The first built-in function interface is predicate. Predicate is used when we want to test a condition. It takes an input and returns the boolean value. For example, here we are checking whether a number is greater than 10. The second important function interface is consumer. Consumer accepts the input but doesn't return a value. A common example is printing something to the console. The main method provided by the consumer is accept. The third function interface is supplier. Supplier doesn't take an input. Instead, it supplies or returns a value. The main method is get. The fourth If an important functional interface is function takes one type of input, return another type of output. For example, here we take a string and returns its length as an integer. The main method is apply. This staple is extremely important for interface. Predicate takes the input and returns the true or false. Consumer takes input but returns nothing. Supply takes no input and returns a value. Functional takes input and returns a value. A simple way to remember them is predicate is check, consumer is use, supplier is give, function is transform. Let us let's connect everything we have learned. The function interface contains one abstract method. A lambda expression provides the implementation of that method. This is correlation between function interface and lambda expression in Java 8. Let's compare the function interface with normal interface. A normal interface can contain multiple abstract methods. A function interface must contain exactly one abstract method. Because of this single abstract structure, function interface can be directly used as the target for a lambda expression. This is some of the most common interview question. Make sure to understand why each answer is correct rather than the simply memorizing the definition. The difference between the predicate, consumer, supply and function is especially important. Let's summarize today what we have learned. Today we learned what is functional interface is in the SAM means single abstract method and annotation of functional interface, how to create the functional customer functional interface and the relation between the lambda and functional interface. Using the default and static methods in the functional interface and the difference between the predicate, consumer, supplier and functional functions are important. If you found this video useful, please like, share and subscribe to channel. The next video will learn about next topic. Thank you for watching.